This 2023 Charlotte ROVAL NASCAR Weekend Recap edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Gametime. Snag the tickets without the stress. Use promo code SGPN on your first purchase to save $20. Download the Gametime app and use promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog has just added Pick'em Scorchers where you can win 100x. That's right. Turn $5 into $500 in one game. Plus, every Sunday they're giving away $100,000. Use promo code SGPN at Underdog Fantasy for a 100% deposit bonus up to $500. Finally, we're brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com and use code SGPN to get 50% off of your first month and start making smarter bets today.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you asked me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Here to wrap up a weekend of racing things. It is, of course, the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. They tackled the Charlotte ROVAL this weekend, and ROVAL tackled back in some cases, but definitely had some entertaining racing going on this weekend, and we're here to break it all down for you and how we did on our bets on the weekend.
And then there were 8, Rod. Oh man, the season is getting whittled down here, sadly enough. But yeah, a pretty entertaining weekend of racing. Cashed a few bets, missed a few bets, kind of exactly how we thought it would go, to be honest with you, because we kind of thought this was a wild card. That's it for wild cards. It is all pretty straightforward from here on out. We've got very, very generic oval races to finish the season across all series. Going to Las Vegas this weekend. That should be a really fun race, a good one. Yeah, and it's what a weekend, huh?
You know, and it's funny because we talk. I mean, you said it's entertaining, and look, it was entertaining. There was some very entertaining spots, but I'm telling you, I'm still not sold on this ROVAL. I still don't necessarily think I'm a fan of the ROVAL. It doesn't offer to me what a true road course offers, and honestly, Cody, it's not even really as exciting as Indy. Indy's ROVAL is a little bit more exciting than Charlotte's ROVAL, to be honest with you.
Shh, don't say that. They got rid of the Indy one, so we're happy about that. But
I wish they would get rid of both of them.
Well, just road course racing in general has, in this car, much like the short track, it's not been perfected yet, right? And there's not a ton of passing. It's a lot more about track position. You can make an argument the best cars didn't win because they didn't get a chance to win because they had the points race or they got fucked on the caution. God, I'm so tired of getting fucked at this track on caution flags, Rod. We'll talk about it, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, once somebody gets up front, it's pretty hard to pass them, and that's what we've seen on the short tracks, what we've seen on the road courses. Again, hopefully going forward, we can continue to fix that. I don't know. It's this track has had its moments. Obviously, there's been a couple of exciting finishes there in the past, and we had some chances at some stuff. I wish Kyle Busch would have been a little more aggressive, maybe, but oh well.
Well, and to me, the biggest story that was coming in, obviously, was the re-addition of the caution flag or the caution brakes, right? And I know, and I know why they're doing it, and I get why they're doing it, but at the same time, it's like when you start messing around like that, you get cars that are fast mixed in with these cars that are slow. And who was it? Was it Who said anything about
just imagine if you would have had Tyler Reddick and Chase Elliott to battle it out with AJ Allmendinger, right? Imagine those three guys racing for the end, but they couldn't because Reddick had to race for points. He had no choice, and Elliott got screwed by 15 feet on the caution flag and ended up having to stay out, win the stage, and get fucked and put back into 31st or whatever on that last restart for the as far as stages went. So imagine though if we could have seen those three guys duke it out, the three best cars in the field, but instead, and AJ was a very good car and a great driver. Obviously, he's won at this circuit already, 4 times in Xfinity or whatever it was. So we know that he can do it, but imagine if you got those three guys duke it out at the end. Instead, I don't know. Again, could go either way because it could get stretched out and you end up with an Indy road course or a Watkins Glen where it wasn't a ton of excitement, and so you got some restarts in this one and all that fun stuff. But I don't know. I'm just kind of ish on road coursing here lately, just because the racing's not been as good as we get spoiled on these intermediate tracks here lately, and luckily we've got those the next couple of weeks at least.
I mean, and they got the intermediates dialed in, and that's exactly what they wanted to do, right? I mean, now obviously they've got to catch up with the road courses and the short tracks, but I guess one thing at a time. We can only expect one thing at a time.
Those used to be good before this car, so you sacrificed one for the other, Rod. You can't have everything.
And yet we keep adding more road courses to the schedule. So tell me where we're going next. I don't even know at this point, but yeah, I mean, look, and again, overall, it served its purpose, right? I mean, it served as the eliminator track. I'm sure the folks that are on the outside now are kind of wishing that this wasn't the eliminator track, but you get what you get.
I mean, you look at it, right? And there wasn't really, we didn't have the playoff guys having the issues like they'd had, right? There was a lot of guys earlier on in the season where, playoff trouble, and Denny Hamlin did, but he'd already locked himself in at that point. And you look at it, we've a pretty solid group of 8, right? We've got 8 of the best drivers in the field. There's a couple guys on the outside, of course, that I think you would put in the top 8, but in an overall sense, you've got 8 really good drivers. Any of these 8 guys, I think, could win the title. So, it served its purpose. It's got us where we are. I know. I'm not super excited that it's coming back again next year. I'd rather do the oval, but again, we're getting rid of some of the other ones. I know Indy Road Course, I think, is the only one I guess that's going away. But
thank God again. All right. So like you said, though, we actually do have now our drivers that are going to be going forward. And that, of course, starts with the guys at the top, right? Byron, Truex, Hamlin, Larson. Those are the 4 guys that are clear right now. Under the line is Buescher, Bell, Reddick, and Blaney. So those are your final 8. And I mean, you're right, though. Yeah. These 4 are the best in the field right now.
Yeah, it's a solid lineup. And again, you got 3 races left here. You win one and you're in. So if you win this weekend at Las Vegas, your team can shift their focus like Joey Logano did last year. He won at Las Vegas. The team shifted the focus to Phoenix, and boom, they hit things, right? So going to be going hard for that. There's no mulligans in this round. The only way you can get a mulligan in this round is if you win one of these races. If you're Martin Truex Jr. and you don't finish better than 15th, which he's not done yet in this entire playoffs, sorry, buddy, you're not advancing to the Final Four unless there's just utter chaos behind him, I guess. But it's pretty shrunk up now. I mean, Byron's only 20 points to the good at the very top of this. That's not very much. That's 2 stages in this thing. That's 20 spots on the track through 3 races. That's not much at all. And Blaney on the other end is only 10 points at the bottom below the cutoff line. And then again, that's not very much either. So it's going to be a tight battle all the way through Martinsville. And it's going to be an exciting one. And we're going to have a champion. What I did think was crazy here. So you had Kyle Busch and Keselowski both eliminated in this round, in addition to Chastain and Wallace. But those 2 guys are champions. And now if you look at the field, Rod, there's only 2 previous champions left in this field. You got Martin Truex Jr., he's a one-time champion. You've got Kyle Larson, also a one-time champion. That is it. So of these 8 drivers, there's only 2 championships combined between all of them. So there's a fairly good shot. And obviously when Denny Hamlin wins this, like I predicted before the playoffs, there's going to be a new champion. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, and honestly, that's so. Wait, update our brackets real quick. You got about 20 seconds to update our brackets.
Oh God, talk fast. We got okay. Let's see. This one's yours. You had Truex, Hamlin, Buescher, and Larson all still alive as far as for your final 4. For my final 4, I had Truex, Hamlin, Reddick and Keselowski. So Keselowski's out. Reddick is still alive. The other two guys still alive.
So my final four is still alive.
So your final four still intact. You're champion of Martin Truex Jr. Although I think Dale Jarrett said on the post race he was the only one you couldn't make a case for to win the championship, which I thought was maybe going a little far. I know it's been a rough playoff so far, but hey, and they're back to. That's the thing is like we've had these wild card tracks, we've had these unknown tracks kind of throughout the playoffs. Wait till next year because there's going to be even more of that with 2 road courses and 2 super speedways. We'll get into the schedule in the off season, but yeah, I know I went past my 20 seconds, but it's going to be interesting going forward here.
Well, going forward, we'll break down the bets from this weekend for you. But first, I want to tell you about Gametime. Buying tickets stinks, just flat out horrible. I would not recommend it to anybody. 0 out of 10. Would not recommend again. But I changed all that. You've changed all that. Gametime has changed all that. You can now buy tickets with ease and without the stress of buying them from other places because Gametime is not only going to offer you great deals, but they're going to offer you great deals on last minute tickets. So you don't have to worry about whether or not you can go weeks in advance, months in advance. Sometimes you can decide the day of that you want to go and find yourself a really great deal on Gametime because they are designed to give you great deals on those last minute tickets. Plus, they got your back. When you buy on Gametime, your tickets are going to be delivered on time and authentic, absolutely guaranteed for that as well. Plus all the lower fees, the better prices. They want to give you a great, great deal. And if you find a better one, they're going to make it up 110% of the difference. Plus it's made for your phone. If you buy and when you buy tickets on Gametime, they're going to be delivered straight to your phone. No worrying about shifting through emails or spam or even waiting for them in the mail, heaven forbid. Don't worry about all that. Get your tickets right on your phone. So snag the tickets without the stress with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code SGPN for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code SGPN for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NFL, NBA, MLB, and soccer bet with historical stats and data. Enter any parlay idea into Hall of Fame Bet's revolutionary parlay optimizer tool to get hit rates broken down by leg, as well as expected probability for the entire parlay. Sort all players by hit rate for any bet to learn which players are hot and which picks have value. Stop betting in the dark. Join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven plays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off of your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame Bets. All right, as we were talking, you look like you're already ready to say something, Cody. What?
No, I was just ready to go. You are so now that you're not on the screen for the, if you watch on the YouTube side of things, again, you should be doing that. But bro, we've got the pop-ups now with the ad details and stuff. And so I was kind of just like, doing whatever over here. And then I was like, oh, it's time to go again. And so, yeah. Ooh, here I am.
That's
I was ready to go if you had a question for me.
No, we are trying to constantly strive to become better at all of this, right? So with YouTube being a thing now, we decided to throw some overlays up to keep up with the Joneses, right? So now you don't have to look at me while I read, even though I tend to think I make it a little more entertaining than most.
You do.
But yeah, I mean,
I can still see you while you're reading, so it's fine. I get the enjoyment of that at least.
You get the best of both worlds. So.
That's right.
All right. So there was 2 series this weekend. There was the Xfinity, there was the Cup race. Obviously, as we normally do, we'll start with the Cup race because it's the fresher one in our memory. Cody, my question then, I guess, to you is, does this weekend make AJ Allmendinger my favorite driver again? Because I really do have a soft spot for that guy. I don't know why I love him so much, but like this weekend.
My biggest question to that question is, do you want your favorite driver to be a full-time Xfinity driver? Because if so, then sure, AJ should be your favorite driver.
Ouch. I mean, look, hey,
that's per Jordan Bianchi. It's all, I mean, basically from the sounds of it, they don't have funding for him to be in the Cup Series, and they're done chasing trophies because that was a bullshit lie the whole time. Yeah, it's gonna be number 10. He's already signed up for one of those cars, and either Ty Dillon, I think it might end up being Ty Dillon. if they have Daniel Hemrick and Ty Dillon in those Cup cars next year, I don't already don't want to see trophy hunting because you have Daniel Hemrick in your car. Oh boy. Anyways, that's a conversation for another day.
That'll be
per Jordan Bianchi of The Athletic, I mean, from everything he's hearing and was told by them, as of right now, they don't have funding to put AJ in the Cup car next year. They're looking to sell that ride, basically. They want somebody who's got funding, and it sounds like AJ is going to be full-time in Xfinity again, which you could argue is probably a better place for him, and he has a more legitimate shot to chase trophies, and he's going to win 5. If Sam Mayer doesn't have something to say about it, AJ Allmendinger the second. But so maybe he'll have a chance at the title there. He won the regular season title a couple of years ago, so maybe a better fit anyways. But I don't know. I mean, AJ won this race, obviously, and props to him, and that's why they brought him in the Cup Series, right? Because he had a chance. Now, he didn't win it before the playoffs, so that was kind of the reason they had hoped. But he still won one, and this is what he's capable of. So there you go, I guess.
Yeah, and look, honestly, he's just that kind of a guy. Like, he will go out and he will dominate and win you a race, and then he'll go out and he'll finish 25th, and you'll wonder what the heck's going on. So it's frustrating, I'm sure. And from a funding standpoint, can we just start a GoFundMe? I mean, or what is it, a Patreon for him, just so he can Cup race? Everybody just pitch in $10 a week so that he can continue to drive Cup cars.
There you go, Rod. That's a great idea.
I'd subscribe. All right, so we buried the lead. AJ Allmendinger ends up winning this race, and honestly, I think I know that we'll talk about some of these other cars in a second, but I really honestly think that this is the best driver that won this race because he outlasted everything. He outlasted strategy. He outlasted a bunch of different things that were going on, and I just feel like he started 6th, so it wasn't as if he started from the back of the field and benefited from everybody flipping stages. He had to make decisions too. He just decided he wanted to win this race.
And he was in a position he could, right? He didn't have to worry about stage racing. And we'll talk about it when we get to the Elliott bets. I think he would have had something to say about it. Bad timing on the caution. It happens. So, all right, should we jump into the bets, Rod?
Let's do it.
Kyle Busch to finish on the podium, top 3, plus 400. Rod, where did Kyle Busch finish in this race?
Bottom step of the podium, but still on the podium.
On the podium, baby. That's all that matters. Cash this one. For this bet, I was a little happy that he didn't get too aggressive and end up wrecking himself there at the end, because I thought for sure that's what was going to happen. But pretty much exactly like I thought. I mean, I knew he would be. He's been in contention in all these road course races, but he's not been the best guy. And it kind of just played out again, right? He's got, I think this is his 3rd or 4th of the 6 we had this year where he's finished in the top 3. And so that's where he's been doing. That's what he did again. Unfortunately, was not enough to advance him on. Our 20-1 ticket from last November is in the trash now, unfortunately. But we had some good value on it at points because he was the favorite earlier on in the season, and it's been an up and down season. But did cash the podium finish, top 3 here at plus 400. So that was a good way to start the card.
It was a great way to start the card, and unfortunately, you're right. I mean, it's just for some reason halfway through the season he checked out and would pop up for a good finish, a good couple of finishes, and then disappear back into oblivion. So don't know what it was. Don't care now, because obviously he's only going to be racing for good finishes and to try to salvage the rest of this season. But all right, my next bet, Ryan Blaney is a top 10.
This ladder fell over.
This ladder it turned into one of those step stool ladders that literally just didn't get you where you needed to go. Like, it got you, you could step up, but unfortunately you couldn't step up to where you wanted to. Ryan Blaney ends up finishing 12th. But listen, Ryan Blaney was inside the top 10 for a few parts of this race. Ryan Blaney was rolling around in the top 10 and then just slipped out of it. Like, I don't know what happened at the very end, because he at least was a top 10
I feel
car.
like towards the end, him and somebody had a little was he one of the guys racing around Suarez? I don't know if you saw the tweet from.
That's right.
I think it was Jordan Bianchi, actually, but AJ Allmendinger asked if the 99 was drunk because he was driving like a wino on his way to the liquor store, and like that is a perfect explanation. Like, what was Daniel Suarez doing this with? Like, just driving like a fucking idiot. Like, oh man, I love Daniel Suarez, but what the fuck, bro? Like every time they showed his car, he was just driving like a maniac, and then he ends up wrecking it, and it's like, well, yeah, what do you think is going to happen, dude? You're driving like a jackass. But
He was jumping out in traffic like Alonso in front of Leclerc. I mean, I'm sorry. That's enough. We'll get there. Anyways, Blaney finished 12th. Like I said, he was a top 10 car. He was never going to be a top 5. He was never going to be a top 3. He was never going to win. But I at least thought this top 10, which is what I had initially had put down on my sheet to like talk myself into the ladder on this one. But yeah, Ryan Blaney did not cash this bet. So unfortunately, none of them cashed.
Unfortunately, I had Chris Buescher top 10 minus 120. Death taxes. Chris Buescher top 10s on road courses. Rod 7th place, just where you need him to be. Cash that. Also throw out top 4 at plus 550. Logano ends up in 5th. Buescher ends up in 7th. So close to cashing that one. That would have been a nice little icing on top there, but did cash the top 10, which I was very big on, one of my bigger bets of the weekend, just because, man, he's automatic. You're getting another good number on it, minus 120. It's kind of nice we don't have a road course until, into next season now. So hopefully people forget and they just give us this number again, because it's like, goodness, man, he's so good at these road courses, so consistent, always gets you the top 10, does it again. So close on the top 4, and unfortunately missed out on that one.
Well, and he started in 20th. So the fact that he even climbed his way into a 7th place, it wasn't even looking for a little bit that he was going to be a top 10 car until that final stage, when he managed to get in the right place at the right time. He didn't finish either stage inside of the top 10. So the fact that he found his way up there in stage 3 that's just a testament to how good he really is at being able to manipulate situations. And he is in the mix. So, points racing be damned. He actually decided to go out and get a good finish on top of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, hey, they moved on, so it worked out for him.
Yes. Oh yeah, it sure did. So, all right, before we go on with our bets, let me tell you about Underdog Fantasy. Well, and Underdog Pick'em too. Underdog Fantasy has a way to play alongside of your favorite football team. And as you know, drive along with your favorite drivers all season long. Underdog has just introduced Scorchers. Go 5 for 5 and pick 'em Scorchers and enjoy a spicy 100x payout. And for a limited time, Underdog is extending the first deposit bonus up to $500. $100,000 Sundays continue on Underdog Fantasy. 10 lucky players are going to win $10K each. We gave you a bunch of our Underdog plays on the weekend. A lot of them actually hit. So hopefully you guys followed along with them and made your picks. And maybe you hopefully made a little cash over on Underdog's mobile app or website, UnderdogFantasy.com. And right now, when you sign up with the promo code SGPN, Underdog's going to double your first deposit up to $500. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code SGPN.
We actually went 5 for 7.
Well, my next bet cashed. And it cashed in the best way possible. This is the ladder I should have climbed. I'm not sure why I climbed the Ryan Blaney ladder. I should have climbed this ladder. That was the AJ Allmendinger ladder. I'm as a top 5 bet at plus 200. I mean, top 5, he finished first. And like I said, you watched him kind of go through the whole metamorphosis of this race, right? I mean, you saw Reddick obviously starting to lead the beginning of it. And then as this race progressed and as everybody was points racing, right? It was Reddick and it was Elliott who won the stages. Again, you look for AJ Allmendinger. He was 10th at the end of stage 1, but that's only because he started 6th and he dropped back at the end of stage 1.
Well, and I think he flipped it too, didn't he? And got back up to 10th. So, yes. Yeah, I mean, again, this lined up just perfectly for them because everybody was going to be points racing. That really was going to be a contender for the most part outside of like an Elliott. So top 5 was definitely the right call on this. Obviously, we didn't have it as the outright. That's unfortunate, but yeah, top 5 was a great call, plus money. Love it from you. Rod, this one was a pretty easy one to hit, and I said how much I loved it. The only thing that scared me was Chaos, which we didn't really get a ton of, but it was number of Fords in the top 10. They had this set at 3.5. Under was the easy way to go, minus 110. Only end up with 2 Fords inside the top 10. So easily cash this. You had Logano in 5th, Buescher in 7th. Then you had Priest and Blaney 11th and 12th. But other than that, everybody was a little farther back. So, man, this was just seemed very, very mispriced based on how all of the road courses had gone so far throughout the season. Chicago had been the only one where 4 had finished in the top 10. And again, that's hard to compare to all these other road courses just because it was different. But this was, man, I hope we continue to get bets like this, because I think this is one of those fun markets we can kind of continue to dabble in and hit on. And I've started to see these. They were kind of popping up later in the week, but this time they were earlier in the week where we actually could give it out on the show. So hopefully we keep getting these options and can keep tackling this.
Yeah, I do love that, because it obviously, when you hit it makes sense. And not only that, but you can see the patterns. Like this is one of the ones where it's easy to kind of see the patterns as you look back through these finishing positions. And so, yep, I hope we get those too. And good call by you. One of those Fords that you did not list in the top 10 was Kevin Harvick.
Was Kevin Harvick in this race?
No.
Okay.
In fact,
yeah,
I don't think he's.
I remember seeing him
this season. Yeah. So at 9-1, this will be the last time you hear me say Kevin Harvick's name on this. I don't even. You say it in Phoenix.
I'm saying it right now in Phoenix. I already created that document and put him in there as my winner, just so you can't take it.
I'm done. You can say his name all you want in Phoenix. I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm done saying his name. So
by the
Kevin
way,
Harvick, top 3.
A quick aside. The Homestead race, I don't know if you saw this today. It's going to be called the Forever 400 in honor of Kevin Harvick, which is cool and that's great. But did Jeff Gordon get a race named after him, or Dale Earnhardt Jr.?
Jimmy did not.
7-time champion Jimmy Joe. Does Kevin Harvick need a race named after him? Are we that hard up for race sponsorships? Okay. Anyways, I'll get off the soapbox on that one. I love Kevin, but I just as a little. Did all these other guys didn't get races? I don't know about that, but anyways.
Stuart Haas money, baby.
They should probably focus on finding somebody for the 10 car and not worry about naming races. But whatever.
All right, next bet for you, my friend.
Next bet for me was my top 10s. This was the chaos builds. I had Austin Hill plus 750, Corey LaJoie plus 900. Neither of these cashed. LaJoie did end up in 17th. That's not for a guy that's 9-1. Being 17th is not too far out of the top 10. And Hill was 27th. I did play both these guys in DFS and had a very, very good weekend in DFS. A lot of the guys we talked about, and in the Underdog too. I was going to mention after the ad read earlier, we had 5 of 7. We gave out 7 plays because I tossed in one bonus one. 5 of 7. So you can only play up to 6. So if you played the right ones and you played the insurance play and stuff, depending on how you played it, hopefully you guys cash some of those, because I hit a few this weekend, which was really nice. But yeah, these were chaos plays. If we got all the overtime restarts there at the end, if Kyle Busch is more aggressive and takes out Allmendinger and grabs Byron, and then there's a big pile up and LaJoie slips through or Hill slips through, all that, that's kind of what you're looking for. We had the LaJoie Balicki bullshit stuff out of the pits that fucked my Elliott bet as well, which was very unfortunate. But so maybe LaJoie would have done a little better without that contact. Who knows? But again, this was the build for chaos part. It didn't get as chaotic as it could have, and I think things could have turned out much differently. A little more slip up, and Kyle was kind of going for it on that last restart. He hit the wall. I thought for sure he was going to put the bumper to age. You're racing for a championship at that point. Don't you take him out? I know it's a new Kyle Busch and he's flipped the leaf and all that, but I was kind of surprised he wasn't more aggressive. But yeah, these ones didn't cash. But again, for the chaos factor and what could have been, I don't mind replacing either of these bets.
I told you though. I mean, I know that the podium finish was a lock, but for Kyle, this is still a Kyle Busch that can pop up and have a good finish, but next 3 weeks he'll probably turn around in 20th or 15th. It's a frustrating season for Kyle Busch.
Yeah, it's for as good as they started the season too. Man, just unfortunate, but oh well. Yeah. He's got next year.
Well, yeah, he does have next year. He better have next year. All right, this next one cashed and wasn't necessarily even all that close, except for the fact that Chastain made it closer at the end than I was hoping for. Joey Logano over Ross Chastain. Chastain started 12th, but I don't feel like he was running around. I mean, I know at the end of stage 2, he was in 6th place, but again, I feel like that one car was just all over the map. Joey Logano, on the other hand, like I said, he started 7th, finished 5th, but I feel like he was more consistently the ebb and flow of his race. you could predict it because you're like, okay, well, I know he's coming in with this group and I know he's coming out with this group. And so, you knew where he was going to be at. And of course, he's not points racing right now. He was just racing to win, which he was never going to do. But at the same time, I mean, a 5th place finish for Joey Logano when you kind of thought to yourself, where is he half of the race? Because he didn't finish in the top 10 in either of the stages. But then again, that's because everybody else was flipping and he was, on a different pit strategy as well. But anyways, yeah, this one cashed at minus 115. For as good as Chastain finished, I don't feel like that was indicative of his actual race. Whereas Joey Logano, that was indicative of his race.
Yeah, maybe that's why Daniel Suarez was driving like a crazy man. He wanted to get some attention for Trackhouse because otherwise nobody was paying attention to them this weekend.
Is Daniel Suarez the new Sergio Perez? Does he have to prove himself now to keep his
maybe, I guess. I don't. Well, actually, yes, I think he does have to prove himself because, the Zane Smith is a Trackhouse guy, not even in a Trackhouse car now, and Chastain's locked up for years with the Anheuser-Busch sponsorship. He ain't going nowhere. So, yeah, Daniel Suarez does need to prove himself because he's very much on the seat. Not a good week for the winning car bets, Rod. I had the winning car as odd. You had under 15.5. The first odd finishing car in this race was in 6th. So this was a big miss by me.
Hey, and I told you that this was just one of those ones where there was so much firepower underneath. I wouldn't have my heart broken if it was over because that would meant the 16 car won. So, I mean, again, at plus money, you still had Kyle Busch up there. Chase Elliott had the possibility of doing it. Kyle Larson never really had it because he started in the back. But imagine if he would have not started in the back. Like he finished 13th. He made up 23 spots in the course of that race. So I feel like he would have had something for the field if he would have started a little closer to the front.
Yeah, I think so. And again, who knows? But yeah, with Larson and Elliott and Reddick, like I felt like the odd side was so loaded and it just did not pan out that way. Again, I think 2 of the fastest cars were odd number cars, but the car that wins, not. Speaking of winners, I had Chase Elliott 6-1. I feel really good about this bet. He looked really good. Things were going perfectly. He was going to flip the stage. He would have restarted the 3rd stage as the leader at that point, with as hard as it was to pass. Good luck, because if somebody was not going to put the bumper to him, I don't think he was going to get past. I think he would have won this race. I think this was the right bet to make. Unfortunately, the ill-timed caution just ruined everything, which was very sad. I had Denny Hamlin 20-1. A longer shot. I thought maybe he would kind of show up and look good. He didn't look bad. And he started in 9th, so he was up there in the top 10. He would have won. I know he was talking on his podcast. He would have won stage 2 because they were going to flip it, and Elliott and Bell were both going to pit until the caution, which probably would not have been good for our winning bet because it would have put him back farther anyways. But yeah, he got in the back there and made the mistake, overcorrected. Buescher 22-1. This was just you're taking the number because he's going to be in the top 10 at the end. Who knows what can happen? You took the number. He was in the top 10 at the end. It didn't happen, but again, if there's chaos up front, he slips through there. It definitely could have. So I don't. The Hamlin one, I guess, maybe is the one I probably shouldn't have made, I suppose. But the Elliott one, I think, was definitely the right way to go. Just got unlucky again. Oh, killing me. But shit happens.
I mean, I'm telling you, and it happens to the best of them, like Kyle Larson, who ended up having to start in the back because he couldn't hang with himself in practice, crashed himself out, couldn't qualify, started from the back.
Rough for those Hendrick cars this weekend. We'll talk about that when we get to the Xfinity side of things, but not great for them in practices this week.
Not even a little. So, yeah, finishes 13th. I don't know what he would have had. I mean, still, like I said, at 9-1 for Larson to win this race, he was
man, when he started in the back, I thought for sure this was going to be the week where he gets caught up in a wreck and he misses the next round of the play. Like that, Larson is one of the favorites now to win the title. If he could make it through this round, which was the tough round, and he did make it through. But yeah, we didn't really get a chance to see what he could have had. I mean, he made hay for where he started. He passed people like crazy and everything, but you just didn't get a chance to see because he never got the chance to be up front, the chance to make those strategy calls or however it would have worked out. Just so far behind the 8 ball that you really didn't get an opportunity to see this one.
Yeah. And again, I'm a little disappointed, but again, I would not have not made this bet. I would have not suggested this to people. Even, that early, not knowing that he wasn't going to make any sort of qualifications. All things even, still would have suggested this. So, all right. There was an Xfinity race as well on Saturday. And listen, I know that we joke a lot about my love, at least, for junior motorsports, but it is not misplaced. All season long, this team has proven that they really are the class. I know Joe Gibbs likes to enter the conversation, and that's fine, and that's all well and good, but these JRM cars show up when it matters. And today, or Saturday rather, they showed up, and they showed up big.
Yeah, Sam Mayer, he said maybe I'm the next AJ Allmendinger. 3 road course wins this season.
Yeah,
absolutely impressive by him. So you got to give it to him there. I had Austin Hill top 5. Boy, we're on kind of a cold streak on this one, Rod. Plus 150, the number was there. The finish was not. Ends up in 9th place. He started 8th. I don't know. I know he didn't flip the first stage, like he stayed out for the points, but then the second stage he did flip it. I really thought he would get a better finish. And again, we didn't really have utter chaos at the end of this one, and where we've had the leaders spinning each other out and wrecking each other. Like it really was much calmer in general than I thought it would be. There was a number of cautions in both races, but we just didn't get the big. You had the one, I can't even remember which, I think it was the Xfinity race, where there was one kind of big spin out there at the end, it was after that late restart where you had that weird car. I don't remember who it was up front that doesn't belong up front, and it's like this never goes well, and then a bunch of cars spun out. But other than that, like you really didn't get it, and so just Austin Hill, a little disappointed in him this weekend. I really kind of expected more from him.
Well, and again, for Austin Hill, he was 5th at the end of stage 2, or stage 1 rather, but yeah, you're right. I mean, he just sort of floated in and out of the top 10 and ended up finishing in 9th place. And I think he actually got kind of nicked 2 there and kind of slid him back. I think he was part of like that 3-wide deal at one point.
Yep.
So, all right. I had Alex LeBay as a top 5 car. This wasn't looking bad for
he started 10th.
Oh,
Did he start 10th or 9th?
No, he actually started. Yeah, he started 10th.
Yeah, 10th. But man, that right there, I mean, there's no way you were getting that number after he starts that high up in the field. So this was a great call for that.
I told you that 91 car was going to be within the mix. And in fact, he ended up inside of the top 6, actually top 5 at the end of stage 2. Because he didn't have anything. He wasn't trying to flip anything. He was just trying to go out.
Like, why do you not pit there? I don't fully understand that, but
I don't know what happened to that. I mean, again, he would have been able to. I think he would have been able to stay inside of the top 5, were it not for his decisions. And then, like I said, he finishes in 15th. So for a guy again that doesn't run full time to still finish inside the top 15, and he was running inside of the top 5 for a long time, a long part of this race. I still think he would have been able to do it. I think he should have been able to do it. But unfortunately, it did not get done at the end of the day.
Yep. Top Toyota, Rod. This was the proper way to attack this. This was the goal. Again, you're just making that in a bigger group, right? There's 6, 7 Toyotas in this race. You target that. You take 2 of the longer shots. Took Gralla at 8-1, Mosak at 10-1. Gralla comes home with the 5th place finish as the top Toyota. John Hunter was 8th, so not a bad finish by him, and Sammy Smith ends up 11th. Mosak was way back in 24th, but Gralla gets it done. Again, it's just there's Toyotas, and I've loved them in the Xfinity. Well, I've loved them in both series, but in the Xfinity Series, I promise you, I'm talking about Toyotas this weekend. Going back to 1.5 miles. Yeah, you can guess who my outright's going to be. The numbers aren't even out yet. I don't care because I'm betting on them because how do you not? But when it came to the road course, they had not been as strong. You don't have a Gibbs or anybody like that in the 19 with it being Snyder. Okay. But so yeah, this was the proper way to attack this. Gralla cashes at 8-1. So this was for not having the outright. This was a good way to replace that because this one was a nice little cash for us.
Yeah. And John Hunter, 38th place start. Like he started dead last and moved his way all the way.
Yeah, I think he didn't run. Did he not run a qualifying lap either? I don't think.
He was.
So there was a lot of that this weekend with the practice and qualifyings being back to back, basically. Like if you left I think if you went to the garage during practice, you weren't allowed to do the qualifying lap. And so John Hunter was part of that. So yeah, nice recovery by him because he's not the best road course racer as we've kind of documented, but yeah, he did have a good finish too, but luckily wasn't the top Toyota.
No. But Mosak actually did run around there. I think he was
one of them that got spun. He ended up backwards at one point. So
yep, and that's what it was. It was Gralla and it was Mosak
because they were the top two Toyotas. Yeah, and I'm like, okay, this is perfect. Like, either one. And then Mosak got spun, and I'm like, oh God, here we go. And luckily Gralla hung on. But yeah, so I think again with that, it had Mosak not got spun, they'd have probably been the top two Toyotas. Then it looks really good on you. So I think again, you got to find these ways to turn these. There are points at the super speedway specifically, at the road courses specifically, where you can turn these in. Now this week at Vegas, probably not, because you're going to have 3 really fast Gibbs cars, right? And so it's going to be hard to not, to beat all 3 of them. But where these other guys have these advantages of it's not just raw speed, that's where you take advantage.
Speaking of raw speed, Cole Custer, raw speed. Okay, I got him as a top 5 car. He finished as the second car in this race behind Sam Mayer, and actually led 4 laps in this one. So top 5 minus 120. Cole Custer started 7th. And again, for Cole Custer, I mean, he's got stuff on the line too, right? So it's not as if he wasn't racing for it, but his car was fast enough to be able to outlast everybody else's strategy. He was nowhere near the top 10 in either of the end of the 2 stages because he flipped it.
He was locked in on points, which was another bonus of why you take this, because he doesn't have to stage race.
So basically, yeah. So Cole Custer ends up winning this, or not winning this, but cashing this bet for sure. And this was a no-brainer. I knew, even when I saw him float backwards, I was like, I'm not worried about it. And charging up through the field at the end to get a second place finish, take that every day.
Yeah, and he was very strong. He's been really good on road courses this year. He's got 2, a road course win and a street circuit win. But and they were just being in the right place at the right time at the end, which is what a top 5 is, being in the right place at the right time. I had Brandon Jones top 5 plus 600. Again, similar to the Cup Series. This was kind of in case all hell breaks loose, and it really didn't. And Jones was running decent for a while, ended up as one of the cars that was spun out at one point. You see that 9 car flip around, and you go, okay, there goes that ticket, unfortunately. But that's how it goes. Again, just kind of wanted to work in some of these dart throws just in case, because and hey, it worked out in the top Toyota category, and it didn't get the overtime restarts that I think would have made things crazy. So this one didn't cash. But Rod, what a great call on this next one.
Yes, my friends. Mayer as a top 3 car at plus 120. I told you guys too, and really it was just about Sam Mayer. And I know he's a self-proclaimed AJ Allmendinger the second. I don't know, Sam. Let's cool your jets on that one, but you still got a handful more road races to be able to win to call yourself AJ Allmendinger the second. You're getting
3 in
there.
1 season's pretty good, but yeah,
getting there. But yeah. And listen, to me, like I said, this is a comfortability level. He's got that comfortability now. He's not afraid. He's not afraid to be assertive when he needs to be and to lay back when he doesn't need to be. Like, there's some maturity level now in these road courses for Sam Mayer. I wish I would have laddered this one all the way up to the Ryan Blaney status, but I felt comfortable as the top 3. I really did. I felt like at least, if nothing else, he would finish inside the top 3, and he did. And for him going forward, you really do have to take a look at his road course numbers now. And maybe the books will start to adjust, but if they keep giving us, anything resembling plus money for any part of it, we'll take it.
Yeah, and this one, I mean, his other 2, he didn't dominate the race. He hung up there, and he kind of made sure he was there in the right place at the right time at the end and won both of them. But this one, he flat out dominated it. I mean, he started on the pole. He led. I'm sure he led the most laps. I don't have that right in front of me, but
he led 50, and that was
he was in control of this race, and he had to win. Right, that was something we didn't mention. They had the cut race here for the Xfinity as well. He had to win to get in. He won and got in. So props to him. Handled the pressure. He's a young guy still, and yeah, it was great. This next one, unfortunately, probably was void on most books. I had Myatt Snyder over Boris Said. Love Boris Said. We talked about it. It was a great story, 61 and everything, but he didn't even get a chance to make the race. Had an issue in practice with the car and was not able to qualify. They didn't have enough owner points, so he was out. Unfortunately, I know most books void this. Again, check the rules. Make sure you're reading the rules, not just taking their word for it, because they like to lie to you, as we've learned. So make sure you look at the rules if you did have this ticket. But unfortunately, voided in most places. I still think it would have been the correct call in the race. Snyder, 14th place, not super impressive, but that's kind of where you expected him to finish in this race. And I feel like that would have been better than said. Again, the legend, right? And he's a great driver, and it's a Hendrick car, but he's 61 at this point, and I don't think it would have gone super well for him. So didn't even make the race and get a chance to really catch this one. But I would definitely place it again. Love Boris, but I think you got to fade him if you get the opportunity.
Yeah, this is one of those tip your cap type of a situations in baseball where they roll out the old timers and they're like,
yep. Love you, buddy, but I'm betting against you.
Yeah, exactly. All right, this next one, all of a sudden the ROVAL's nice to Riley Herbst. We documented how terrible it's been to him, and I think the ROVAL wanted to make nice to the 98 car. I had Chandler Smith, the 16 car, which had won all of the races up until this point on this track, over Riley Herbst. Riley Herbst gets us a top 5 finish, which is something we haven't said in a while as far as when we were taking him. So Riley Herbst finishes 4th. Chandler Smith, though, to his credit, still finished 12th after a day where I felt like he was in and out of the top 15 almost all day long. He kind of lost track of him at points. He started 17th. He did finish 12th, but yeah, that 16 car totally missed AJ Allmendinger in it.
Chandler Smith, the rumors I'm hearing now, Rod, to JGR next year. That could be, and he's formerly was with Toyota. What's that? Well, no, because Sammy's Sammy's going to JRM. So Smith replacing Smith. They wouldn't have to change the door panel, right? Just keep him in the whatever numbers. I don't know what Sammy's driving. He's in the 18, right? But change the initial and you're good. But that he was with KBM prior in the Truck Series, and then he switched to Chevy for Colic here. But man, he's a good driver, and you put him in fucking fast cars like JGR has. Ooh, that could be a dangerous combination next year. So we'll have to see if that is the case or not. But I had Austin Hill over Jordan Taylor, -125. I know we talked about Hill, and it wasn't the best finish ever, but this one was never in doubt. Taylor, 16th place finish. Again, that's pretty much right where you thought he would be, right? It had been in the 20s in his 2 starts between the Cup and Xfinity Series. It's just, this is a different discipline of racing. It's a different style. He's a great racer and good in IMSA and all these other things he drives, but NASCAR is different, and we see it time and time again with these guys. Again, there's the one outlier in SVG. Street course, not the same as a road course. But yeah, this was an easy way to go, and he'll easily cash this one. So -125 was no sweat.
Not indeed. This one was a sweat, and it ended up not working out. I had Toyota over Ford. Were it not for Cole Custer and Riley Herbst, this bet would have been fantastic. But both of those guys,
Gralla was right there with an opportunity. I mean, 5th place.
But he was.
Yeah, so unfortunate. Just didn't hit this one. Outrights, I had Parker Kligerman 10-1. He ended up, boy, where did he end up? It was not.
Parker Kligerman ended up in 6th place. Not bad.
Oh yeah, 6th place. Not bad. It just wasn't as good as I thought he would be, which was kind of unfortunate. They didn't really have a winning car, I don't think. So Sammy Smith 17-1. Again, it was just kind of a longer shot. A guy you thought maybe would be fast. Started back at 22nd, so he's kind of behind the 8 ball a little bit. Ends up 11th. Whatever. Mosak 100-1. I mean, he was running in the top 10 towards the end. So what more do you want from a guy that's 100-1? Like we documented before, ended up getting spun around there and doesn't have a great result. But 100-1, and he was at least in the mix for a while. I'll take that any day.
So I had Sheldon Creed. Can somebody please tell me when and if Sheldon Creed will ever catch a break? And I mean ever catch a break. That dude is cursed, right? And he started 5th. He did have a top 10 finish, but God, he was in the mix for so much more. He was cutting it up in the front of the field just about every single time you were looking. Unfortunately, he what did he get mixed up, right? I think he got kind of tapped and pushed out or something like that, or it was, and that was it. So Sheldon Creed 10-1 couldn't hit. Chandler, like I said, 60-1, but only because the 16 car had been in the victory lane. And I thought, what a great story it would be for the 16 to continue.
Oh, I thought that was the 16 Call It Cup car. Sorry, guys.
My bad. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to transfer that to the other card. And then, Cody, screw the world.
I tried to warn you on this one.
No, this was the right bet, damn it. This was the one that was supposed to hit. Justin Allgaier plus 350. If it weren't for stupid Ryan Ellis, right? I think that was the car that ended up crashing. He stayed up front. He was the 43 car, or one of the cars that stayed up there.
I think it was I think the 02 car was the one who stayed up there, but he wasn't really the cause of that wreck. I don't know.
But he was, if it wasn't for that, because then they got 3 wide and Justin got edged out, and I'm zen, Cody. I'm zen. Justin Allgaier starts second, leads 10 laps in this, and does not even finish this race at 37th.
I think I recall saying that I thought he was going to be good and I really liked him, but you can't trust him at this short of a number. I don't want to say that I'm right because I hate for your bet, Rod, but man, just unfortunate.
I'm retiring. Well, we got one JRM car right. I'll tell you that right.
There you go.
We got one JRM car right. But that one, and as soon as he spun out, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like I screamed at television.
I knew it was coming too, and that's what sucks. But hey, it's he was the fastest car. Well, maybe the second fastest car to Mayer, but
to Sam Mayer. It would have been him, and it would have been them.
It would have been duking it out at the end.
Yeah.
And just unfortunate to see. Just to wrap up the championship for these guys as they head to they're all in the same. We're all lined up now with the Cup Series, right? So they will race the next 3 weeks, just like the Cup Series. Trucks are off this week. Then we have one, then they're off, and then so they're out of whack still. But everything is lined up the same way. You got John Hunter with a 37-point gap. That's not quite a mulligan, but he's looking pretty good there, right? But again, the one thing you have to keep in mind with that, he's 37 to the cut line right now, but if you get 3 of these other 8 guys win, and then there's only one guy getting in on points, and that goes for both series, that is very, very important to note. So make sure you want to win if you can. But John Hunter, Austin Hill, Justin Allgaier, Sam Mayer are the top 4. Again, Mayer was completely out, had to win to get in. He did it. Custer, Chandler Smith, Sheldon. How is Sheldon Creed still alive? I don't know, but he is. And Sammy Smith, advance number 10. They'll be gracious in victory or defeat. When they played that radio transmission before, I go, I hope it's defeat because I would love to see that. And he did not advance. Kligerman sadly didn't advance. Josh Berry, kind of a surprise. Beginning of the season, not a guy you would have not making the final 8. And Jeb Burton wasn't really shocking to anyone. He's the one who caused the all-tire wreck. Yes,
that's the guy.
Because he just completely cooked it into turn 1. And his excuse later on was he hadn't restarted up front ever, which I thought was funny. But yeah, he just drove it. I mean, Chase Elliott style right into although he didn't come back and win the race like Elliott did. But, oh, yeah, that was rough.
They asked him for a little Jeb Burton magic. That's not the magic we needed from him.
Oh boy, yeah, that was rough. But man, what a day!
Friend anymore. That no longer will he be Jeb Burton. He's just 27.
Just number 27.
All right. Well, then the ROVAL is done. Las Vegas, it is, baby. Vegas will be up 500 by midnight, and we'll be breaking it all down for you as we come back tomorrow with our Cup Series bets. But Cody, got to get you out the door. So let's tell everybody where they can find you on social media so we can send everybody else out on their way to get ready for Vegas, baby.
Yep. Follow me on X at Husker_Zeeb. You can find all my work over there. Coming back from Vegas this week. We kind of went a little light the last couple of weeks, right? You take it easy. Full on this weekend. We're going full bore into this one, and we're going to hit some bets. I'm excited. Let's go make some money in Vegas.
Hitting the strip, kids. Follow me on X at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio. Everything I got going on. You can find it all there. We'll see you guys tomorrow for some Las Vegas action. Until then, let's go racing and let it ride.